Welcome to the ReThink Food Challenge by Wageningen University and Research. A groundbreaking competition designed to redefine the boundaries of food production through the lens of space farming. This is your call to action. As we face limited resources, a growing population and the challenges of climate change, your innovative ideas are needed more than ever. Join us in a quest to develop sustainable circular solutions for food cultivation on Earth, Mars and Moon. Work in interdisciplinary teams, identify real-world problems and design viable innovations that bridge gaps in our current food systems. Get coached by experts, network with industry leaders and gain exposure for your ideas. This is your chance to grow, to make a difference, and possibly to jumpstart your career in a direction you've always dreamed of. Join us in this transformative challenge and help forge a sustainable future for our planet.
Hello, welcome everyone. Can we all hear me? If not, please let us know via chat. Hi, I am Yejin from War Student Challenges, and I'll be your host today for the ReThink Food Challenge info session. And yeah, welcome. The road to the ReThink Food Challenge is getting shorter and shorter, and we're happy to see that so many of you are ready to roll up your sleeves and get to work on innovating the current food production by adopting ideas of space farming. For the past month, some of you have joined our events, Surviving on Mars and Beyond Earth, to have a chance to take a peek into the concept of space farming and alternative protein. Today, we build on that knowledge with our first speaker of the day, Wigger Bammelink here. Hi, Wigger. Then Marta will explain what you will do in the challenge, including all the important details that you might be curious about. Unfortunately, Marta is not here today to answer additional questions, but Rio here will be able to answer the questions. Hi, Rio.
Hi, Jejin.
After that, Marisol, as a former participant of ReThink Waste Challenge, will tell you her stories of participating in the challenge and perhaps how you too can emerge victorious win out of this competition like her team did. Hello.
Hey, hello everyone.
Yes. So this is our team for the info session today, and our first guest, Wigger Bammelink, is joining us to discuss the potential and the challenge of growing food beyond Earth. Wigger is founder of BASE, Bioregenerative Astrofood and Sustenance Engineering project. He works for Wageningen Environmental Research as ecologist and extraterrestrial biologist. In the later role, he focuses on establishing a sustainable and efficient system for extreme conditions like those on the Moon and Mars. So take this moment to solidify your knowledge of the space farming technology. Well, welcome, Wigger. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I'll start first my presentation. Yes, there it is. I will have a short presentation first, and then I have a short movie about the latest developments that we have on the project, building a dome here on Earth. But first, a short introduction on agriculture in space and food production on Mars. So our main question always have been, can we grow crops on Mars and the Moon applying local resources, which in our case is the regolith or soil that is present on Mars and also on the Moon, and the ice. There's a lot of ice on Mars and only a little on the Moon, but we want to use that to grow crops. Now, a little bit about Mars. It's far away. A journey takes around 6 to 9 months That's one way. Then you stay there for a while and then you fly back. So you may understand that it will cost you maybe 2 years to go to Mars and to come back. That gives special challenges. One of them is, what are you going to eat? And even during that first trip, we believe that it is necessary to grow your own food during the trip, but also during your stay on Mars. Now, when you're on Mars, the gravity is about 1/3 of Earth. And actually, we do not exactly know what effect that will have on the growth of plants. It's quite difficult to do research on that here on Earth, but it is possible, but very difficult. So that I think will always be part of an unknown until you arrive over there and do your research. When you're on the moon, there's almost no air. There's a little bit, but not enough to sustain life. So crop growth on Mars will always be indoors, as it will be on the moon, by the way. That's convenient because then I can regulate a lot of the parameters that are needed to grow crops. You're indoors, you can have a normal Earth-like atmosphere, temperature, and also using LEDs to give light and energy to the plants, which is much easier than if you would do it outdoors. Now, what's very convenient is that on Mars, a day lasts 24 hours and 36 minutes. That's almost as long as a day on Earth. So I think for plants, that will be no problem. For humans, it could be, because that extra half an hour could really influence our day and night cycle. But for plants, I think it's okay. Now, Mars and also the moon have no protection against cosmic radiation, which means that the radiation ends up on the surface of Mars. And that could give problems with plant growth. We know that it's a problem for humans. You can get cancer from it, so you have to be very careful with that. But our research also showed that plants can also be affected. That is also a reason why we think we have to do it indoors, plant growth, and below ground to protect the plants and the humans from cosmic radiation. Now, I want to focus today on one part of this agricultural ecosystem, which has to be circular, because there is nothing there on Mars. The only thing that you can find there is the regolith with some nutrients in it and the ice, but there is no organic matter, there is no life. So everything has to be recycled. It really has to be a closed ecosystem. And here you see the key parts we identified that are needed to do so. So we have the plants, in this case a pea, there's a reason for it. I'll get back to that later on. But the peas need to be pollinated. Now, we can do that by hand, but it is laborious, so we will want to bring pollinators like bumblebees or flies. Then, if we go below ground, there's not much nitrogen in the soil, so not much nitrate or ammonia, and that's essential for plant growth. There are several ways to work on this problem. One of them is bringing rhizobium bacteria, which can live in symbiosis with the pea plant and then take N2 out of the air and turn it into ammonia and share it with the plant so that the plant also has a source of ammonia to grow. Another way is free-living cyanobacteria that can also take N2 out of the air and turn it into ammonia. Now, we don't eat everything from the plant. We only eat the pods or only the seeds, most people. So the rest has to be returned to the soil. That has to be broken down. And there are two options. One is bacteria that stimulate mineralization and that releases the nutrients again. The other option are earthworms. We've done several experiments with them. They eat the organic matter and their feces, their poo, is then again manure for the plant. What we also want to do, and we've done our first experiments with that, is to bring fungi. Since they can live also in symbiosis with the roots of the plant, and they can acquire nutrients for the plant, especially phosphate. Phosphate is present on Mars, but it's not directly plant available. But the fungi can release that from the mineral soil and share that again with the plant so that they also can get phosphorus as food. Now, another important part are, of course, the astronauts. We have to bring them because they have to eat my vegetables, but more important, I need their feces as manure. And to that part, I will dedicate the rest of this presentation because it's one of the most important parts in the recycling of everything on Mars. So we did several experiments to recycle human feces already. And to some of you, it may seem a bit obvious, but for us in the Western Europe, we don't use that and don't do that anymore. So basically our feces are now regarded as a waste product, which costs a lot of money and effort to clean and to keep it out of the ecosystem where it causes problems. But on Mars, that's not possible. We have to recycle our own feces. And that's something I think we can learn from this project as well, to go back to that here in at least in Western Europe, to that recycling of our feces as well. So what we did is take the urine, human urine, and isolate it from that struvite, and that is magnesium ammonium phosphate, and it's a very, very good fertilizer. It looks a bit like artificial fertilizer that you buy in your garden shop, but it's a bit more fluffy. It releases its nutrients steadily but slowly, which is very handy because then it's available during the growing process of the plants. And you can easily make it from urine. You can actually do it at home by adding pure magnesium to your urine. Then you will see that crystals will form spontaneously, and that is struvite. So you can actually try this at home. I would do it in a closed environment though, because otherwise it might get smelly. Now, what you see here are 3 pictures of plants growing on Mars regolith. So Mars regolith simulant, that is what we use for our experiments. Green bean in these cases. And you see that they grow and they have some flowers and you can even see some beans, but these did not receive a struvite as fertilizer. So they stay small, they get yellowish leaves, and they also show a shortage of nitrogen and other nutrients. So their growth is very, very limited. And this in principle would not work on Mars if you wanted to feed people over there. Now, if we add struvite to it, you get a totally different plant. It grows up to over 0.5 meter and it forms enormous amount of green beans. So this shows that by applying struvite, you can actually really fertilize the regolith, which in principle is very, very nutrient poor, especially for ammonia and for phosphate. But if you add it, it releases its nutrients and then you get a very healthy plant, which gives you a huge harvest. We can show that as well. Here are the results for that experiment, where you see the fresh weight of the beans that we weighted, because that's the only part we eat. And then you see in blue the earth control, that is potting soil, so actually quite good soil already. In gray, on Moon regolith simulant, and in orange on Mars regolith simulant. And then you see below the bars, you see either a plus or a minus, and the plus did receive the struvite and the minus did not. Well, and you don't have to do statistical analysis, which of course we did, but you can immediately see that a huge difference in production. So this again shows that recycling your urine really can stimulate the plant growth on the regolith. Now, we also looked at what is officially called black water effluent, or in less of official terms, our poo. And here you see that except for that the pH is rather high, there are a lot of nutrients in it, especially nitrogen in the form of ammonia, but also quite some phosphate and other essential nutrients that plants need, as sulfur, magnesium, potassium, and calcium. By the way, magnesium and calcium are also in large amounts available in the regolith, so that will not be a problem for plant growth, but the others are very important. This black water effluent, we made it safe for use as fertilizer in a laboratory where the actual poo from a toilet was collected and then fermented. And what you see here is the effluent, so the liquid phase. That is what we applied to our, again, green beans, but also rye and garden cress. Now, the first example you see here, that is with garden cress, and it grew very well and abundant. We do, by the way, a lot of experiments with garden cress because it germinates so easily and it grows very fast. So you have a very quick result. But also we applied it on pots with rye, and you see here in our own built cabin where we did the experiment with some students. And at the end, you can see again the difference. The taller plants did get human feces as manure, while the smaller did not. So there's a big difference again in growth of, in this case, the rye. So here also we show that, adding rye to Martian regolith will really boost your growth and your harvest will be bigger. So that's the first part of my presentation. So it's especially about recycling our own feces, which is necessary on Mars and on the Moon. But I think it's also something we should do again here on Earth, as I said before, because now we pay a lot of money to treat the waste, while it actually could manure our fields. But we have to be careful to do so. So then I want to start the movie about the dome we want to design. So when you go to Mars, you have to go underground and you have to build your own greenhouse. And we made a first movie about how that greenhouse could look like on Mars. And I will show you it also for inspiration.
This is the building my team and I designed. Welcome to BASE. This is a showcase to test a completely self-sustainable agricultural ecosystem for crop cultivation under its harsh circumstances. This dome contains a fully circular ecosystem for crop growth. We can regulate all environmental factors like temperature, moisture, and light. Key is the closed nutrient cycle, including nitrogen. we are working hard to build this prototype on Wageningen campus for more research on Earth. Also to inspire and invite others to work in the dome. But first, we are building this dome as a showcase in virtual space. Well, the virtual dome is not ready yet. So we will do a tour through the dome in a more conventional way. Welcome to the dome. In this base project we are investigating how explorers can grow their own food to survive in extreme conditions. Before we build a facility like this on Mars, we may first need a similar structure on the Moon. However, a building like this could also be beneficial here on Earth, as many regions are increasingly struggling to produce enough food due to the changes in climate and weather patterns. The dome features a comprehensive laboratory dedicated to testing the quality and nutritional value of food, as well as ensuring food safety. This is crucial because the regolith, or soil, used for growing crops contains heavy metals such as zinc, lead and cadmium. You definitely don't want these harmful substances in the food you consume. In the dome we have a room with a high ceiling where we can grow bamboo for use as building material. Additionally, there are small fruit trees that provide astronauts with fruits such as oranges, mandarins and lemons. These fruits are essential sources of vitamin C and E, which help protect astronauts from harmful cosmic radiation. We also cultivate nut trees to serve as a valuable addition to their diet. The greenhouse is isolated from the rest of the building to prevent contamination from microbes introduced by humans or from other compartments. This isolation also helps retain moisture as the humidity levels are high in the greenhouse. Algae are an important link in the agricultural ecosystem created within the dome. We use them as additional fertilizer in the regolith by crushing and then incorporating them into the soil. Algae also provide astronauts with extra protein and assist in purifying wastewater. The crops grown in the greenhouse to feed the astronauts primarily consist of those cultivated in regolith, as it is easier to design a closed-loop agricultural ecosystem based on this material. However, we also grow crops using hydroponics. The crops we cultivate include potatoes, tomatoes, carrots, green beans, peas, radishes, leeks, peanuts and rye. Crops are grown on adjustable shelves that can be modified in height and replaced as needed. The crop growth systems are fully automated, with computers and robots controlling the growth process, including harvesting. Adjustable LED lights provide illumination, allowing us to influence plant growth and fruit production effectively. Organic waste is processed by earthworms, which consume the organic matter and produce manure through their feces. The worms are kept in drawers, providing them with a warm and cozy environment. Their feces are then added to the regolith as fertilizer for the plants. Mealworms are a valuable addition to a vegetarian diet. We rear them for their high protein content and because they contain all essential amino acids. The mealworms are cultivated on crop remnants that we do not eat, and their feces can be used as fertilizer. The maintenance of the worms is largely automated and carried out by robots, both day and night. This automated system allows astronauts to have more time for other duties, as well as leisure activities. We use regolith soil from Mars to grow crops, specifically sourcing it from the lower layers rather than the top layer of the Martian surface. This approach aims to minimize contaminants such as perchlorates and heavy metals. To enhance the regolith, we enrich it with animal and human feces as manure, since it lacks readily available nitrate, ammonia and phosphate. Adding organic waste improves the water holding capacity of the soil. Earthworms help in this process by creating burrows, which improve aeration and water penetration in the regolith. Additionally, the worms distribute organic matter and feces throughout the soil. There is a lot we need to think about to be able to grow crops on Mars. It's about designing, building and recycling to produce crops. You have to be careful with the precious resources. With over 10 years of experience, we are well underway and ready for the next steps. I hope you enjoyed this sneak preview into BASE. It is our dream to design a sustainable agricultural ecosystem on Mars and on Earth. There is still a lot to do, so feel free to help out. Now it is time for my lunch walk.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation, Vigor. It was extremely interesting to learn about space farming and how we can take that knowledge into consideration when we think about innovating the current food production. And now we'll take a moment to answer a few questions from the audience about the presentation. And I already saw one question here from Chloe. A practical question, would this mean that adding our pea to the plant would increase the growth of the plants, or should it rather be isolated component?
Yes, well, it most certainly will increase the growth of the plant. And what we also want to do is, of course, recycle the water, but we will do it separately. So we will not adjust or apply the pea directly to the plants, but do it in several components. That's also safer because our urine, but especially our feces, may contain hormones, but also medicine, and we don't want that in the growing system, in your agricultural ecosystem. That's maybe not very important on Mars, but if we want to apply it here on Earth, then that's extremely important.
Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to chat us, and otherwise we will wait 2 more minutes, and otherwise you can ask questions at the end as well, because Vigor will be staying till the end. Kelly said she wants to speak, but I'm not sure if it's because she has a question or it was by accident. Could you write the question on the chat instead? Thank you. Oh, there is another question by Reason. What about the issue of pathogen effects as human feces harbor bacteria and so many pathogens?
Yes, that's true. So that is a real challenge. And that's why, well, urine is relatively clean. There are normally not pathogens in it and not bacteria, but still we have to be careful. So that's why we use the struvite, which is a mineral, and it is for 99.9% pure. So there are no contaminations in it. So that's quite safe to use. And then the rest of the water can be sterilized. but our poo is much more complicated, and that's why we ferment it. In our case, but there are also other options. You can, for instance, use radiation to clean it and to kill all the bacteria. That's quite easy on Mars because we've got a lot of cosmic radiation on the surface. So in the end, all the bacteria will die. But you could also, for instance, heat it up under pressure, and then also the bacteria will die. But we have to be careful, and we have to make sure that the bacteria are dead, and also the viruses that could be in there. And there could also be chemical substances in it that you don't want to have in your agricultural system. You have to be careful about that. So the constant control of the quality of the manure is or your poo is very, very important as well. And it's also part of the dome we designed, to have a laboratory that can check that.
Thank you. And there's 2 more questions, and we'll move on after that. From Joy, how would we deal with the waste product of bamboo bee as a pollinator of plants at Mars?
Sorry, could you try to repeat that?
Yes. How would we deal with the waste product of bumble? I have no idea. You can also check in the chat Q&A only.
The bamboo, you mean? So the plant grows.
Yeah, as a pollinator of plants at Mars. Could you find the?
I don't understand the link, so that's a bit of a problem because as far as I know, bamboo is pollinated by wind. But we have more wind pollinators, so I can say a little bit about that. You have to create artificial wind in the greenhouse. That's not only for pollination. Rye, for instance, also has to be pollinated by wind. But it's also necessary to prevent that moist builds up in corners and things like that, and that you get a range of CO2 and oxygen in the greenhouse. So constant air movement is needed when you are in a greenhouse. That's also here on Earth. If you don't have that, then you get corners where it's much more moist and where you could get fungi and bacteria and other harmful animals live, and which could end up as a pest affecting your harvest. So that's maybe one of the things that's behind it. Yeah.
Thank you. We got a lot of questions, and if in case we don't answer your questions today, we will send you some answers via email. So
Yes.
Don't worry. One question from Delices. I have a question about chemical fertilizer. Is there an impact on growing crops? I mean, in negative way. Another is the urine does not affect the growing crops? Question mark.
Yeah, okay. First, the artificial fertilizer. We apply it a lot here on Earth, and it has disadvantages, most certainly. It also has a lot of advantages, otherwise we wouldn't use it. But it's a salt, and in principle, if you add a salt to the soil and where you grow your crops on, that could be a problem. Now, the problem here on Earth is existing, but actually all manure adds extra salts to your soil. So it exists with all manure, and you have to add manure in one way or the other, otherwise the plants will not grow. You will deplete the sources that are available if you don't recycle it. So it is needed, but yes, we have to be careful with that. But since we are going to use artificial manure, the struvite is also kind of artificial manure, we can also influence that. But yes, you have to be careful. And what was the second part of the question? The urine itself. Well, urine is just another form of manure. So a major part of it is, of course, urea. That's applied a lot as fertilizer. So that's also an option. We then use the struvite, which is another option. But your urine also has to be checked, but I'm not that afraid of using urine if I compare it to human feces. Because there the bacteria are inside and also other harmful products. So that's a much bigger problem than the urine. The urine is relatively clean, but still we will not use it as urine. So we will take the components out, also to have more control of what we are using as fertilizer and then apply that.
Well, thank you. And I know we still have a lot of questions, but we'll answer them later. And we have to move. Yes, well, thank you, Wigger.
You're welcome.
And now, up next, Marta will tell us more about the challenge itself, and she is responsible for the implementation of the ReThink Food Challenge. And, well, she's not physically here today, but she made a video to answer all, talk more about the important details that you might be interested. And Rio here will answer all of your questions. And we usually receive many questions about the timeline and how to find your teams and etc. So tune in and save all your unanswered questions for the Q&A after. And after Marta, we will hear from the winner of the ReThink Waste Challenge in 2023, Marisol, and about how it feels like to win the challenge. So stay tuned until the end.
Hi everyone! Great that you considered joining the ReThink Food Challenge. My name is Marta Eggers, and I'm here to tell you everything that you need to know about this challenge journey. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat and my colleague Rio will answer them after the presentation. The ReThink Food Challenge is an initiative of Wageningen University and Research, which is Life Science University in Wageningen, the Netherlands. So what is this challenge about? The ReThink Food Challenge is an open innovation student competition where you develop a business idea that offers an innovative, circular, and sustainable approach to growing food on Earth. And we challenge you to think about it from the perspective of space farming. And the reason is that space farming, we think it can offer a radical and innovative perspective for thinking about food production on Earth. And why is that so? Think about it. If you go to space and you are on this small spaceship capsule, you can only take very limited resources with you. And also, you have to be very smart about how you go about waste, because anything that you waste stays with you there. So it forces you to be more resource efficient and also think in a more circular way. I already mentioned that it's an open innovation challenge where you come up with a business idea. What does it mean? It means that at the end of the challenge, so if you make it to the finals and you pitch to the jury, you have to have a very solid business proposition with you. And what does it mean? It means that you have to know very well about it. Like you have to explain very well how is your idea solving a problem that you identified at the start of the challenge. In what way and how is it? You have to prove that it's economically feasible, so that it makes money and not makes you lose the money. That it's technically possible, feasible, that it's sustainable, that there is market for it, and you have to present it in a clear and convincing way. And we encourage you in this challenge to think in two different tracks. One of them is indoor farming, and another is alternative protein. And the reason for that is, of course, also related to space farming. So if you are in this spaceship, you have to produce your food indoors. So you have to think about the indoor production systems, and taking big animals with you as a source of protein, it's not possible. That's why you have to find alternative protein sources. And if you are looking for ideas, you're not sure what ideas are feasible for this challenge and what not, we put in the chat a link to a document where we present some suggested topics you could work on. And I would also like to invite you to the ideation workshop, a hybrid workshop that will take place on 10th of December. And during this workshop, we also help you to come up with some ideas that you could work during the challenge. Then who can participate in the challenge? Good news is almost everyone. So the challenge is open to students from all over the world, of all different levels, so bachelor, master, and PhD students, and with all kinds of academic backgrounds. What is important is that you are interested in topics such as food production, space farming, alternative proteins, indoor farming, sustainability, circularity, also innovation, business idea developments. If you have one of those interests, then you are a perfect match for this challenge. Also, fresh graduates can participate in the challenge. However, for PhD and fresh graduates, there's one important rule. They cannot exceed 20% of a team composition. So if you have a team of 5 people, then you can have 1 PhD student or fresh graduates in such team. And then for a team of 10, it's 2, and so on. Now, how does the challenge work? The challenge is spread over 4.5 months, and it consists of 3 selection rounds. The selection rounds, that means that only propositions, reports, milestones, teams who fulfilled the minimum criteria or the criteria of the challenge can make it to the next round. So there is a selection. Don't be too stressed about it at the beginning because it's really about meeting the criteria and then making it to the next round. At the finals, it's really about whose idea is the best. And then when you think about the logic that the challenge follows, it's the logic of developing a business proposition. So the rounds are divided into ideation round. That's the first round, where you actually focus mainly on exploring your initial idea, improving and presenting it in an attractive and clear way. Then there is a second round where you actually work on collecting data, information that supports or rejects your assumptions, and also on improving your initial idea so that it becomes a good, solid business proposition. And then hopefully at the end of this round, you have a good proposition in your hands. So the third round is really about presenting it. So how do you sell your idea to the jury and to the world? And especially if you consider taking this challenge, this idea to the next level and going on as a startup, this round can be very useful for giving you tools on how to present your idea to the world. So now I will go a little bit more into the detail about each of the rounds. I will explain what you need to do and also how we help you to make it a success. So maybe what is important to mention is that in every round, there's an assignment you work towards, and those assignments, they kind of are designed in a way that they at the end, you have this good business proposition at the end of the challenge. And what we try to do is we try to support you in developing your ideas and also developing your final report. And we do it in 2 ways. We provide you some important tools, and we also give you a chance to get feedback on your products. So the first round, the ideation rounds, it's a little bit more than 1 month. And at the end of this round, you need to provide a report that consists of 8 A4 pages. And in this report, first of all, you describe what is the problem that you try to address with your idea, and also what is your broader vision. And then you present your solution and validation plan. A validation plan is about how in the next round, if you make it to the next round, you are going to check if your assumptions that you made about your solutions are correct. And about the tools, so in the first workshop of this challenge, pressure cooker workshop, will help you, will provide you a framework and some tools on, and also some feedback on how to actually develop a good business idea. So you take your initial idea and then you work on it, you improve it so that you have a good basis. Then you present it to our coaches and they give you feedback. So you have a couple of days between those two events. And then you have 2 more weeks to finalize your idea and submit it as a report for the selection committee, who will decide if you will make it to the next round. So the next round is about technical and business validation of your idea. So checking if actually it all will work, and if not, what are the weak points that you can improve and make it work. For the technical validation, you do it at home, at your home university. We encourage you to secure the support of your professors of your university, maybe in doing some prototyping. If you don't have that, well, you can do it also in your kitchen. For the business validation, that's where we come with some support. The first thing that we offer in this challenge is the validation workshop. So during that workshop, you will find out what are different tools that you can validate, what even business validation is, and what are the tools that you can use. And you will also start using those tools and validating with the experts that are attending the workshop. Then we also organize online consultations. So there will be a number of coaches from the industry, and you can pitch your idea to them and ask them for specific questions. And they are a little bit of your kind of, soundboard in a way of telling you very honestly, does this all make sense? Or maybe there are some weak points that you need to improve. And I can give you an example. So in one of the challenges that we organized a couple of years ago, we had a team and they had the great idea of using the silkworm waste for, so when you produce silk, you use the, you have a silkworm that are kind of left over, and they were just thrown away, and they are rich in proteins, so that the team was considering using those silkworms as a source of protein for human consumption. But during the validation round, they discovered that actually it's super difficult to actually introduce to the market a new food product. And then they talked to their coaches, and one of them suggested that they could explore the animal food market, especially for the pets. So then they thought, okay, so we can use this protein not for human consumption, but to produce snacks for dogs and cats. And actually, they were very successful with this idea. They won the challenge, and recently they introduced their first products to the market. So I use this example to show you that this business validation is very important. It's not only about checking if your idea is or not going to work, but also using the findings from all the discussions and all the research that you do to improve your idea. At the end of this challenge, you need to provide a report and also social media pitch. In the report and social media pitch, you have to explain very well what is your vision, but also for the first time here, you have to define the market for your idea, and then you have to present your solution again, but then the improved version, and also you have to provide evidence that it's technically and economically feasible. And during the demo day, it will be a digital hybrid demo day. We'll present all the ideas, and the selection committee will decide who will make it to the final round. And we have placed for 10 teams in the finals. And those 10 teams will be given training in pitching their ideas. So now I'm moving to the final round. The pitch round, it's relatively short round. Here you really focus on perfecting your sales pitch. Because at the end of this round, you need to have a very good 3-minute video pitch that will be submitted to the jury, who is your kind of business panel. And you have to have a poster presentation, and that's what you will present at the grand finals on 27th of May. The grand finals is in Wageningen, and the teams who are invited to the finals get some budget for traveling, accommodation, and also for food for being here. And of course, they make chance to win the main prize, which is 7,000 euros for the winner. But they also get exposure of the idea. And in this final round, you get support of a professional pitch trainer. She will explain you what are the main ingredients of a perfect sales pitch, but she will also provide you a very in-depth feedback on your on the pitch that you have. So this is, we say, it's also a very valuable part of the challenge because you learn a lot from her and her feedback. So this is how the challenge works in the nutshell, and also what are the important deliverables. We are going to share with you the challenge handbook. And in that challenge handbook, you will find the timeline of the challenge described more in detail, as well as the list of deliverables. So what are the exact things that you need to describe in your reports or in your videos or posters, but also you will find there a list of criteria. So what are the criteria for judging my entries? So please check that one in carefully. Then I wanted to tell you about an important and very exciting part of the challenge. So you are not alone in the process of developing your solutions. As I already mentioned, we are there to support you. There are some experts who will provide you feedback. And we have a number of coaches from the industry leaders. And those coaches are there for you to answer your questions. So you can approach them at any moment of the challenge. We'll also showcase your ideas to them, so they might also reach out to you if they find your idea interesting and they would like to talk about it more in depth. And this coaching, well, it's a way to get to get feedback. Of course, I already told you they are your soundboard, but you can also use it strategically. So it's also a way to get a better idea of the industry. Many of those companies are looking for talent, so you can kind of profile yourself, present yourself to the industry, and hopefully you will make a useful connections that will help you with your next step, whether it's a startup or looking for a job in one of those companies or another company which is which might be in a similar sector. A couple of important details. So we often get questions about how much time it will cost you to participate in the challenge. Well, for us, it's very difficult to say it exactly, but roughly think about 1 day a week, so 8 hours a week. And of course, there will be some moments in the challenge where you will work more hours, so especially around the deadlines, and probably some parts of the challenge where you will be a little bit less busy. And that might also depend on your role in a team, but I think 8 hours a week is a good estimation. Then I already mentioned about another thing, which is that max 20% of PhD or students or fresh graduates can participate in the challenge, which again is if you have a team of 5 it will be one such person. Then about the events, I have also presented you a list of events that are part of this challenge. You might wonder, how can I join them? So for people who are located in Wageningen or in the Netherlands, they join live here at the Wageningen campus. For people who are abroad, and I know that already many people from all over the world have registered for this challenge, you should join the challenge online. So all the events will be hybrid. If you have other questions, please put them in the chat, and my colleague Rio will answer them after the presentation. But those were some of the questions that we get very often, so that's why I mentioned them. So now, why should you join this challenge? I hope that I made you a little bit excited about what is going to happen in this challenge. I think it's a really amazing learning journey where you will develop many different skills. You will, of course, learn a lot, and you will develop also skills that are great to show on your CV. So, I think that's an important thing to consider. Also, I already mentioned that it's an opportunity to build a network with students with similar interests all over the world, but also with the industry leaders and all coaches that will be involved in this challenge. And that's also leading to the next point, which is about lifelong connections. Mostly you will be working within your teams, and some of the people you will meet in this challenge journey, they might be new, but maybe new best friends. So it's a great way to kind of become part of a bigger community which has this interest in innovation in food production. For the participants of the second round and the finalists, we provide a certificate. And I already mentioned about travel and accommodation budget for the finalists. And then there is the first prize, which is €7,000 and exposure at the Green Tech event for the winner of the challenge. There is also prize for the second place and for the third place, which is also significant amount of the money. And also those teams are invited to Green Tech, and the Green Tech is a major horticulture fair in the Netherlands that happens every year in June. So I think there's enough to get you excited about the participation in this challenge. So now, if you consider joining, then remember about the registration deadline. It is 18 November. By that time, you have to click on join on our website and make sure that you fill all the fields and that you are registered as official participant. However, that's not everything. After you register individually, you need to form a team. So being a part of a team is an important part of this challenge. Your team should be at least 2 people. There is no limit on how big the team should be. We encourage you to find people with different backgrounds so you complement each other. Maybe one person who is great with who has a lot of knowledge about business ideas, while other people are more technical experts. I think that's a great combination. So you really need to find a team. And by 9th of January, you need to register your team on the website. Everybody who has registered for the challenge have received from my colleague Yejin instructions on how to create a team. So I hope that everything is clear. If not, we'll explain it after the presentation as well, more in detail. And if you are looking for team members, we also, if you register for the challenge, we provide you some overview of opportunities to find team members, so you can fill in your team personal profile, and then you are visible on the website and other people can approach you. You can also approach other people who are looking for the team. So if you click on that option, we are sending you a link to a document where you can find other people who are looking for the teams. You can leave a message on a pin board so that other people can find you. And you can also join the validation workshop on 10th of December, which I already told you will be about finding a great idea, but it will be also an opportunity to meet some other people who are also looking for the team and are interested in similar ideas. Of course, people who are here today online, you can also make yourself visible to the others and say that you're looking for a team and leave your message, contact details in the chat. So there are many ways to kind of try to find a team, and we really encourage you to do it yourself. If you are not successful in that, we might put some people together in the team, but from our experience, we know that the teams who form naturally, they're much more successful in working together. So I hope it's clear. If not, we will explain you it more in detail in the after the presentation. And then I would like to finish by encouraging to go to our website, read more about the challenge if you still have some doubts. And otherwise, we hope to see you in the challenge as participants. Join the validation workshop on 10th of December, and definitely the kickoff event on 14th of December, 14th of January. Thank you very much.
Hello. Sorry for that chaos, and I think we'll be able to maybe send the links of the video that we wanted to play previously later. So now we have Marisol here. Hello.
Hello.
So I think a lot of people are looking forward to hear the actual experience of joining the challenge. So there you go. Yeah, how did you experience participating in the Rethink Waste Challenge?
Oof. Well, it was really an experience with many emotions, I would say. It was very exciting, and I was very curious to participate because just of the name itself, Rethinking Waste, was really calling me. What I started studying, I started first studying chemistry, and then I went into food technology exactly because I believe there were some things wrong with the system, how we produce our things, also food, and so that's why I wanted to join this challenge. And I think it was really a great opportunity to invest my energy in a project with a goal towards positive impact for the environment through addressing waste. So yes, for me, it was very full of purpose and experience. So it was very fun and motivating in that way.
So nice to hear. Yeah, well, that's great. So the next question, I think many students would be very curious about this particular topic, I think. How did you find your team?
Yes, so I found my team through a common friend, a friend of mine that knew about the previous challenge, that was the greenhouse challenge. He had told me about it, and it was almost towards the end, and he told me, oh, maybe next year when there's a new challenge, maybe it's something for you. And I was really interested in the whole concept of the student challenges. So I stayed in touch with a friend, and I had no connections. I didn't know who would like to join, but this friend, I was lucky maybe in that sense. And now I see some people are all over the place, so it might be a bit harder. But for me, it was through this friend that knew other people that were interested. So it was gathering people with the shared interest and connections with. But also, I would say just telling other people, like how I heard about this was through someone that had participated in a previous challenge or that heard about these challenges and started spreading the word. So I think just spreading the word, you can find people that are maybe interested in joining your team.
Thank you for the tip. I'm pretty sure a lot of potential participants are very interested to hear. Yes, so after participating, I know you said it was a very positive experience, but what did you learn from your participation in the challenge, and what was the most valuable lesson?
So I would say I mainly learned, like the skills I learned were social skills. In particular, I would say in entrepreneurship and working with a team towards basically developing a business concept idea. I have never been in business topics, or so I'm really a technical person. I did engineering, and always technical subjects were my main interest. But I actually discovered that I have an entrepreneur within me, and that I really like to go out and network and talk about my concept, the potential product that I really believe in. So yeah, I learned, well, a few lessons that I learned were that you should just go out, reach out to people, be daring, be a bit strategic about the people you want to reach out to and the questions you want to ask. But the main thing is to really be determined and motivated. So that was a big one for me.
Well, thank you. Is there any advice for students who wants to join the challenge?
Yes. So you can maybe take this as an opportunity to work on ideas that you believe can have an impact on the environment, on the world, in society, and take these opportunities, since you'll be very well connected with people that have different kinds of experience, working people from industry, experts to people in academia and people with skills in business development. So I would take this opportunity to build a lot of connections that can give you advice, and you can learn from different perspectives how to build a potential business idea or an impact idea. So yeah, so really take it as an opportunity to connect with, to learn from people with different expertise.
Lastly, what is your tip for winning the challenge?
Okay, so I think right from very early, when we came up with the idea that took us to the end, basically, it was an idea that I completely believed in it, and I still do. So I was very committed to the idea, the concept, or the solution we were working on. So my tip would be to find an idea that you truly believe in and to show commitment. So to take it seriously, and to, yeah, it takes effort and energy, that's for sure. It's not, if you want to get to the end, I would say just show that you really believe in it and work as you do. Okay.
There is a question that might be related to your answer just now. How many hours did you spend on the challenge? Just approximately, maybe per week?
Yeah, that's, I would say it changed throughout the months of the challenge. There were moments when maybe in the beginning it was less because we still had to come up with an idea. But so the challenge officially started in January, but we decided to form the team months ahead, and to unofficially just start brainstorming, so that by the time the challenge would start, we could be a bit more focused. So we did some brainstorming sessions on a weekly basis, but we were just meeting to have dinner together, like, let's say 4 hours in the evening per week. So 4 hours per week, or maybe 2 even in the beginning. And then as we started to have to work on the deliverables, we tried to find a way to divide the work. And when we were closer to, there were moments where there were events, so you could choose to join these, and there would be you would take extra hours with this, but it all depends on the quality of what you want to deliver. So towards the end, close to the date of the deliverable, we were working a lot more, and sometimes I would have to give up on evening activities, and I did work maybe sometimes 8 hours per week on the high peaks. So I did compromise some things, but it can be very individual. So it really depends how much you feel that you want to put in. For me, like I said, I felt really motivated to pursue this idea. So that's my personal experience. I think just give as much time as you feel that would give you the result you want, or one that you're satisfied with.
Thank you. There are a few more questions. Before we go to official Q&A session, I think it would be nice for you to answer all the questions that are related to your experience. Some participants are curious about the ReThink Waste Challenge and what your project was about.
Yes, so the idea was started by looking at how big the waste problem is in the food industry, and the environmental challenges with that. So about a third of food that is produced is wasted. So those numbers were really strong. So we wanted to do something with food losses or waste. And I'm very interested in the topic of alternative protein production as a way to make the food system, and especially protein, more sustainable, because it's one of the main drivers of, for example, deforestation for the production of soy to feed cattle. That's a very big issue. And so we wanted to see if it was possible to combine the topic of sustainable protein production with rethinking waste. So making a use of this food that was being lost throughout the food chain. And so the solution that we came down to was to use fermentation with fungi as a means to transform some major side streams of the food industry to produce protein-rich fungal biomass. So basically a protein ingredient based on fungi grown on side streams from the food industry. So that is the idea we developed and worked on.
Thank you so much for sharing. Someone was wondering if you're still involved in the business idea that you came up, or just a company that you created with the idea during the challenge.
Yeah, I'm actually still involved, and it keeps going well. In a way, it's I was really enthusiastic to continue with the idea, because, as I said, I really believed that it could turn into a business. So basically, it's now a startup. It's called Afterlife, and we are working to find a way to make this possible, this goal of transforming side streams of the food industry into protein ingredients. And at this stage, I am doing experiments in the laboratory to prove the technical feasibility of this solution. So it's still very early stage, of course, but it was born from this idea that started in the ReThink Waste Challenge, where it was just a concept based on inspiration and ideas of what I thought could be possible, but there was still a lot to be proven technically. So that's what I'm doing now. And hopefully it keeps, the results keep going well so that we can achieve this at a larger scale.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best. And I hope to see you as one of the partners one day. Yes, so that was Marisol. I don't think people can give you applause, so I'll just do it myself. Thank you so much for answering questions and share your experience. And now we're gonna go to the Q&A session with Rio. Hello.
Hi there. Back behind my own screen.
There are quite questions. Do you want me to read them for you, or do you think you can pick out ones?
Maybe you start reading them out to me, because I am a bit lost at where we're at the moment.
Yes, I will. I think this is about the challenge itself. Should the business idea be something tested before? Like, for example, if it is a theoretical idea that we will need some further research, or do we have to come up with the idea that's already out there?
No, the challenge is coming up with a new idea, and using something existing actually disqualifies you from joining the challenge. So you can build on things that are out there, but there has to be an innovative element in your business idea. So you can start with a very rough idea and use the time during the challenge to further develop and validate it.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be tested before, but as long as you can validate that it will work, it is okay.
Yeah, and as you heard Marisol explaining, they still need to go into the lab to do a lot of testing to see if what they found actually works also in reality and on the scale that is needed to make it suitable to sell on the market.
Yes, and there's a question from Maria. At the end of the challenge, we have to develop like a prototype of the idea.
Not necessarily, but if you do have the opportunity and the means and the time to do so, it definitely helps to convince the jury. But yeah, we do realize that sometimes it's really hard to get lab space where you can do the experiments that you need to do. So it's not a prerequisite.
I see. And there's another question from Solmas. If you're currently not a student, but is it possible to participate in this challenge with other students as a team?
So students in all phases of their studies can join, and in addition to that, also PhD students and recent graduates. But the number of PhD students and recent graduates is limited. So you can only have a maximum of 20% of your team members being in that specific category. So you're saying you're not a student now. It depends if you were a student and how long ago it is that you graduated. Your graduation date can be a year before the registration deadline.
If I don't have a background in space farming, can I still join?
Absolutely, because it's an interdisciplinary challenge. So besides the technical aspects of research into space farming, you will also have to look into what is the actual problem that we're going to solve with the solution. You have to think about markets, you have to think about social impact, health, maybe environmental sustainability. So there's a wide range of aspects that you need to work out and include in your submissions to be able to become a winning team. So there's many disciplines that actually can contribute, and even if none of the topics that I just mentioned are included in your study program, I think if you're dedicated to spend time and effort on this, you have something to contribute.
Yes, another question for us, is there any mentorship through the challenge and specifically the brainstorming session? And are there more specific guidelines available in terms of end products?
Well, to start with the last question, yes, in the handbook you find exact details of what you need to submit in which round, and it also shows what the assessment criteria are. What was the first part of the question again?
Is there any mentorship throughout the challenge and specifically the brainstorming session?
Yeah. So with each challenge, we have also a network of partners that are available to the participants for questions and feedback, etc. So the answer is yes, they're there. There's sometimes available through the events we organize, but also there's an interactive part of the website for which you have to log in. And through that interactive part, you can reach out to the experts and ask them questions and guidance. So that it's absolutely there. I would still recommend, if you have people in your own surrounding or at your own university that could provide some support, maybe more on the process or otherwise, I would also definitely make use of that or look for people that can provide additional support.
Yes, I think this is a quite important question for students who's joining outside of Netherlands. Will students have to bear the cost of traveling to the final themselves?
We provide the cost for one representative to join us in Wageningen. So we don't have a budget to bring the whole team over to Wageningen, but we will make available the budget for at least one representative, and we also cover the accommodation cost for the nights that they are here for the finals. I would also recommend to look for sponsors that could, for example, sponsor a few more tickets for more of the team members, because if you make it to the finals, it's very inspiring to meet all the other teams, to meet the partners and the experts, etc. It's great if you can share that with your teammates. So if you spend a little bit of time on looking for potential sponsors of your team, quite often companies are very interested because you are young innovators, you're the next generation. So make use of that. And also check with your university. Sometimes they have travel funds available for this kinds of activities. So that's in short my answer.
Yes, also related to the international participants, will all or most of the events available online?
Yes, everything is available online, but some of the events are hybrid, and the kickoff is a live event here on campus with a live stream. And the same accounts for the finals. It's a live event here on campus with a live stream. So there's with all the other events, we do have interaction, and the online participants are an integrated part of the event. And of course, there are completely online events. We have, for example, online consultations with the experts. That's purely online. We provide the time slots and the links to meet each other online.
This is about the end product. When having already submitted an idea, is it possible afterwards to add or remove some small components of the idea, or is it set stone once it is submitted?
No, because you're expected to further develop it, and that also means new iterations, and it also means taking into account the feedback that you got and the new information that you gathered. So you can absolutely change things during the course of the challenge.
Yes, there are quite a lot of questions. Is it possible to join the challenge again after having already participated in once before, but not winning? Yes.
We are happy to welcome you back.
Yeah. And what will the winners receive by the end of the competition?
The winning team. Now, I think. Sorry, I'm not 100% sure of this. I think the first prize is 7,000 euros. And there's also a prize for the second, a money prize for the second and the third, but I don't know it by heart. I'm sorry. It's on the website.
Yes, it is. You can check out the website. There are quite a lot. Yeah, in case we did not answer, because it's about time for us to wrap up this info session. We will try to answer all the questions that you sent during info session via email. So if you're still wondering why my question didn't get answered, we will. So stay tuned and check your email regularly. And yes, that's all. I really hope you have clearer picture of what this challenge is about and what you will do. And I hope all of you are now convinced to join the challenge. And in case you have further questions, you can always send email to our studentchallenges.wordnl. I think everyone has our email.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I'm just thinking there's often a part of the people that register come with a specific idea that they want to work on. There's always a few people that really want to contribute to more sustainable food production, but don't have a specific idea yet that they want to work on. We are asking our partners to come up with the challenges that they face in their own company or within the sector that you, in that case, can use as a source of inspiration. Also, again, ask people, ask professors, lecturers, other experts that are close to you for inspiration on what you could work on within this challenge.
Okay, great. I hope that was all the information that you needed or wanted. Yes, I think it is about time for us to say bye here. And there are so many events, and the kickoff is on January, but there is still events before the kickoff.
Yeah, December 10th is the ideation workshop that helps you with developing your initial ideas, and it's also an opportunity to matchmake, to look for other participants that don't have a full team yet.
Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody said provide the detailed PDF. There is, if you click on the offer, you can find the student handbook, and that's the detailed handbook where you can find all the information you might be needing for challenge before and then during. So you can check that out, or you can also email us saying I want that handbook, or I think it is already on the website if you join the challenge. So you can also download it yourself. Yes, so that is it. Thank you so much for participating, and so sorry about the presentation in between, but we will send you the link of the video that we provided today. Yes, so save the date for all the upcoming events, and I really hope to see you on the kickoff. Is there anything you want to say, Rio?
No, I really hope to see many of you at our challenge at the kickoff and the other events that are following. So with any questions, just drop us an email. If you can't find it in the handbook or on the website, just let us know.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to the ReThink Food Challenge by Wageningen University and Research. A groundbreaking competition designed to redefine the boundaries of food production through the lens of space farming. This is your call to action. As we face limited resources, a growing population and the challenges of climate change, your innovative ideas are needed more than ever. Join us in a quest to develop sustainable, circular solutions for food cultivation on Earth, Mars, and Moon. Work in interdisciplinary teams, identify real-world problems, and design viable innovations that bridge gaps in our current food systems. Get coached by experts, network with industry leaders, and gain exposure for your ideas. This is your chance to grow, to make a difference, and possibly to jumpstart your career in a direction you've always dreamed of. Join us in this transformative challenge and help forge a sustainable future for our planet.